Amy gripped the alien device in her hand as the shuttle descended toward Earth. The weight of responsibility pressed on her shoulders heavier than gravity itself. As the craft touched down on the landing pad, she saw a group of officials waiting. Her boss, Dr. Kate Wilson, stood at the front. Her face tense. "We need to debrief immediately," Kate said as soon as Amy stepped off the ramp. "What happened up there?" The others crowded around, eager for information. General Pam Rogers of the United Space Command looked particularly concerned. "I have something," Amy said, holding up the device. "Lyra gave me this. It contains everything we need to know about a hostile alien race called the Vex. They are coming to Earth." The group fell silent. General Rogers stepped forward, taking charge. "Secure room now," she ordered. Within minutes, Amy found herself in an underground facility surrounded by military personnel and scientists. She placed Lyra's device on the table in the center of the room. It hummed softly, pulsing with a gentle blue light. "How do we access the information?" Kate asked, staring at the device. Amy reached out, hesitantly remembering what Lyra had shown her. She placed her palm on the smooth surface. The device responded immediately, projecting a holographic display that filled the room. Everyone gasped as three-dimensional images of the Vex appeared. Their ships, their weapons, their biology, all laid bare for human eyes. The aliens were unlike the elegant Lyrians. Their forms were angular, almost crystalline, with multiple limbs and eyes that glowed with malevolent red energy. "These are the Vex," Amy explained. "They hunt and destroy emerging civilizations. They believe only the strongest deserve to survive in the galaxy." The hologram shifted, showing the Vex ships approaching the solar system. "We have 3 days before they reach Earth." Amy continued. "The Lyrians will help us, but they need our unpredictability, our creativity to defeat the Vex. Their tactics are too calculated, too predictable, for the Lyrians alone." General Rogers studied the tactical displays with narrowed eyes. "Their weapons technology is centuries beyond ours," she observed. "How are we supposed to fight them?" The device pulsed again, revealing schematics for defensive systems. "These are designs for shields and weapons we can build with our current technology," Amy explained. "They won't match Vex firepower, but they will give us a chance, especially if we use them in ways the Vex won't expect." Kate examined the designs, her scientific mind already working through the possibilities. "We can do this," she said, looking up with determination. "But we'll need every lab, every factory working around the clock." General Rogers nodded and turned to her staff. "I want worldwide coordination," she ordered. "Get me the Security Council, the top military brass from every major nation. We have 3 days to prepare for an alien invasion." The next 72 hours passed in a blur of activity. Amy barely slept, working alongside scientists and engineers to adapt the Lyrian designs for Earth technology. The world governments, for once united under the common threat, mobilized their military forces. Lyra maintained contact from orbit, her ship now joined by 3 more Lyrian vessels. They positioned themselves as a first line of defense while Earth prepared. On the 3rd day, Amy stood in the command center watching the massive screens as the Vex fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. 7 large vessels moving with precise formation toward Earth. The Lyrian ships moved to intercept, but everyone knew they were outnumbered. The first battle occurred near the orbit of Mars, the Lyrian vessels dancing around the larger Vex ships, firing weapons that distorted space itself. The Vex responded with devastating energy beams that sliced through the vacuum. 2 Lyrian ships took heavy damage, but their defenses held. On Earth, the newly constructed defense grid, powered up satellites equipped with Lyrian technology, formed a protective net around the planet. Ground-based ion cannons stood ready, while squadrons of fighter jets modified with alien shields prepared for launch. Amy felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find Kate standing beside her. "The President is asking for options," General Rogers said, approaching them. "The Vex have broken through the Lyrian line. 2 of their ships are heading straight for us." Amy studied the tactical display. Her mind raced through everything Lyra had taught her about the Vex, their weaknesses, their predictable patterns. Then an idea struck her. "The Vex rely on calculation," she said. "They analyze patterns, predict responses, and counter them. But what if we did something completely illogical? like what General Rogers asked. Amy pointed to the defense grid. The Vex will expect us to spread our defenses evenly to protect major population centers, she explained. But what if we concentrated everything on one side of the planet, created a super shield on one hemisphere, and left the other seemingly exposed? Kate caught on immediately. They would target the exposed area, she said, and walk right into our trap. Amy finished. We position our most powerful weapons behind the exposed hemisphere, hidden from their scans. When they commit to their attack pattern, we hit them from an unexpected direction. General Rogers considered the plan, then nodded. It's crazy enough to work, she said. Exactly the kind of unpredictability. Lyra said, the Vex can't counter. Begin reconfiguration of the defense grid. The order went out. As the Vex ships entered lunar orbit, Earth appeared defenseless on its southern hemisphere. All shields and visible weapons clustered in the north. The Vex adjusted course exactly as Amy had predicted, targeting what they perceived as the weak point. Lyra, seeing the strategy from her damaged vessel, sent a message of approval. She coordinated the remaining Lyrian ships to herd the Vex into position. The trap was set. When the Vex ships crossed into low Earth orbit, General Rogers gave. The command now hidden ion cannons rose from the oceans, firing upward with devastating force. Stealth satellites cloaked with Lyrian technology decloaked and attacked from all sides. The concentrated barrage caught the lead Vex ship off guard. Its shields fluctuated, then failed. Beams of energy tore into its hull. The massive vessel listed, then exploded in a burst of light. The second Vex ship immediately adjusted tactics, breaking off its attack run. But the humans were ready. Fighter jets swarmed from hidden bases, attacking in chaotic patterns that defied logical analysis. The Lyrian vessels pressed their advantage, targeting the areas where Amy had identified weaknesses. On the command center screen, Amy watched as the combined Earth-Lyrian forces pushed back the Vex. The alien hunters had never encountered a species that fought with such apparent disorder, such seeming madness. There was no pattern for them to analyze, no logic for them to counter. The remaining Vex ships attempted to regroup, but Earth was not finished yet. The defense grid reconfigured again, this time splitting into hundreds of smaller units that attacked from constantly changing vectors. The Vex shields, designed to withstand concentrated assaults, could not adapt to the thousands of smaller hits coming from unpredictable directions. Amy felt a surge of hope as the second Vex ship suffered critical damage. Its weapons went offline, then its engines. The massive vessel drifted powerless. The remaining Vex ships began to retreat, pulling back toward the outer solar system. The command center erupted in cheers, but Amy knew this was only the beginning. The Vex will return, she said to Kate and General Rogers. They will analyze what happened here and adapt. Their next attack will be different. General Rogers nodded, her expression grim but determined. Then we better be ready for them, she said. Kate squeezed Amy's shoulder. We will be, she assured her. The Lyrians have given us their technology, and we have shown what we can do with it. This alliance has potential. Amy looked back at the screen where the Lyrian flagship was approaching Earth orbit. Lyra would soon arrive to discuss next steps. The partnership between humans and Lyrians had begun with victory, but the war with the Vex was far from over. Amy thought about the memory sphere Lyra had shown her, how the Lyrians had watched humanity for centuries, waiting for the right moment. She understood now why they had chosen this time. Earth needed the Lyrians' advanced technology, but the Lyrians needed humanity's chaotic brilliance together. They might stand a chance against the Vexes. The command center bustled with activity, planning the next phase of defense. Amy allowed herself a small smile. The universe had just become much larger and much more dangerous, but humanity had proven itself ready for the challenge. 3 months passed since the first Vex attack. Earth had changed in ways few could have imagined. Lyrian technology integrated into human society with remarkable speed. The alliance flourished as both species learned from each other. Amy now served as the chief liaison between the Lyrian delegation and Earth governments. Her days were filled with diplomatic meetings, technology transfers, and strategic planning. The temporary command center had become a permanent installation, renamed the Interspecies Cooperation Headquarters. She sat in her office reviewing reports when Kate entered. "The Lyrians want to show us something," Kate said. "They requested your presence specifically." Amy followed Kate to the main hangar where Lyra waited. Her tall, elegant form still struck Amy with wonder. Despite months of close work together, Lyra greeted her. The large alien eyes blinked slowly. "We have completed the enhancements to your orbital defense system. But there is something more we wish to share with you." A shuttle waited sleek and silent, its organic curves a stark contrast to human engineering. Amy and Kate boarded along with General Rogers, who had become a permanent fixture in their team. The craft lifted off without a sound, rising through the atmosphere with impossible speed. Instead of heading toward the Lyrian vessels in orbit, the shuttle changed course, aiming for the dark side of the moon. "What are we going to see?" Amy asked. Lyra gestured to the viewport. "Our new collaborative project is." They rounded the moon. Amy gasped. A massive structure sprawled across the lunar surface. Domes and spires rose from the gray landscape, glowing with soft blue light. Construction vessels, both human and Lyrian, moved around it like bees at a hive. "What is it?" Kate whispered. "The first Terran-Lyrian outpost," Lyra explained. "A place where our species can work together without the limitations of Earth's gravity or atmosphere. It will serve as a research facility, defensive outpost, and cultural exchange center." The shuttle landed at a docking bay. Amy felt the subtle artificial gravity engage as they disembarked. The interior of the facility was even more impressive than the exterior. Corridors curved in ways that seemed both alien and familiar. Surfaces responded to touch-changing color and texture. "We have been building this since the battle," General Rogers asked, clearly surprised at the scale of the operation. "Yes," Lyra confirmed. "We believed regardless of the outcome it would be necessary, either as a monument to your species or as the first step toward our shared future." Amy felt a swell of emotion. The Lyrians had such faith in humanity, even before knowing if they could defend themselves against the Vex. Lyra led them to a vast chamber at the center of the facility where dozens of humans and Lyrians worked together at stations that blended both species' technologies. A massive holographic display dominated the room, showing the solar system and beyond. "This is our warning network," Lyra explained. "It can detect Vex ships months before they reach your system, giving us time to prepare." Kate studied the display with scientific curiosity. "How far does it reach?" she asked. Lyra adjusted the hologram, expanding it to show neighboring star systems. "We monitor 17 systems currently," she said. "More as we expand the network." General Rogers frowned. "How do you expand it?" she asked. "Are there more Lyrians coming?" Lyra turned her large eyes to the general. "No, we are all that remain of our kind. The Vex destroyed our homeworld centuries ago. We have been nomads since then, seeking allies." The revelation stunned the humans. Amy had suspected the Lyrians were refugees, but hadn't realized the extent of their loss. "So why Earth?" Amy asked. "Why risk bringing the Vex to us?" Lyra gestured to a small sphere floating nearby. It expanded, showing images of human history. The rise and fall of civilizations, wars and peace, technological leaps and artistic achievements. "We watched you grow," Lyra said. "Your species adapts, overcomes challenges in ways we cannot. We believed you might succeed where we failed." She touched the sphere again, and it showed the recent battle. "You did not disappoint." She continued. "The Vex have never retreated before. They do not understand your illogical tactics, your willingness to sacrifice apparent advantages for unexpected gains." The sphere changed again, showing a distant galaxy. "The Vex are not the only threat in the universe," Lyra said. "There are older, more dangerous beings, the ancient ones who sleep between the stars. We seek to build alliances with promising species before these greater threats awaken." Amy felt a chill run down her spine. Just how many hostile aliens were out there? Kate, always the practical scientist, spoke up. "These defenses are impressive, but what about offensive capabilities? Can we take the fight?" To the Vex, Lyra blinked slowly. "That is why we brought you here today," she said. "Follow me." She led them deeper into the facility through security, barriers that responded to both Lyrian and human biometrics. Finally, they entered a darkened chamber. At its center stood a sleek vessel, unlike any Amy had seen before. The Starfire, Lyra announced. The first ship of the combined fleet, built with Lyrian technology but designed with human tactical concepts. The ship was beautiful, a perfect blend of Lyrian organic curves and human angular efficiency. Its hull shimmered with a material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It can travel beyond your solar system, Lyra explained. Faster than any vessel either of our kinds has built before. Its weapons are enhanced versions of those used in the first battle, and it carries something special. A panel opened in the ship's side, revealing a chamber filled with softly glowing spheres, memory cores Amy recognized. Yes, Lyra confirmed. But these contain more than memories. They hold the combined tactical knowledge of both our species, the ability to predict and counter Vex strategies. The ship itself can think, adapt, learn from experience. General Rogers circled the vessel, her trained eye assessing its capabilities. How many can we build? She asked. With your resources and our knowledge. Lyra replied, 50 within a year. A fleet of 200 within 3. The general nodded her approval. When can we begin training? Crews, Lyra gestured to a group of humans and Lyrians working nearby. They have already started. The first mission launches in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, Amy exclaimed, surprised at the rapid timeline. The Vex are regrouping, Lyra said. We must strike before they return in greater numbers. The mission will target their forward outpost in the Proxima system. We need to understand their plans. General Rogers straightened her posture. I want to lead this mission, she said. Lyra nodded. We anticipated you would. The ship has been configured for your command style. Amy watched this exchange with growing unease. Lyra noticed her discomfort. You are concerned, she observed. Amy nodded. I'm worried. We're moving too fast, she admitted. Weeks ago, we didn't know aliens existed. Now we're planning interstellar warfare. Lyra placed a gentle hand on Amy's shoulder, a gesture she had learned from humans. Your caution is wise, she said, but the universe does not wait. The Vex certainly want Kate, who had been examining the ship's specifications, looked up. Time isn't on our side, Amy, she said. The Vex are already adapting to our tactics. We need to stay unpredictable. Amy knew they were right, but something still bothered her. She turned to Lyra. Is there something you're not telling us? She asked directly. Lyra blinked her large eyes. The Lyrian equivalent of a sigh, yes, she admitted. The Vex fleet we encountered was merely a scouting force. Their main armada is much larger. We estimate they will reach your system within 1 Earth year, unless we disrupt their advance at Proxima. The weight of this revelation settled over the group. General Rogers was the first to recover. Then we have no choice, she said. UI, take the fight to them. Preparations for the mission accelerated. Amy found herself working alongside Kate to integrate additional human innovations into the Starfire. Everything from tactical systems to crew comfort was considered. Nothing was too small to improve a week before launch. Amy sat with Lyra in the lunar outpost's observation dome, looking at Earth hanging in the blackness of space. I never imagined any of this, Amy confessed. When I first detected your signal at the observatory, Lyra made a soft musical sound, her species' version of laughter. Nor did I imagine finding such worthy allies when we first approached your world. Amy studied the alien who had become something like a friend, despite their differences. Why did you choose me, she asked. The question had been bothering her for months. Why make me the liaison? Lyra turned her large expressive eyes toward Amy. Your mind, she said. It works differently even among humans. You see connections others miss. You question everything, even what seems obvious. That is what we need against the Vex. Someone who thinks beyond patterns. Amy considered this. While flattered, she wasn't convinced she was anything special. There are smarter people than me, she said. Better scientists, better strategists, but none who could bridge our worlds as you have, Lyra replied. You understand both the science and the humanity. That balance is rare and precious. Before Amy could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the facility. Red lights pulsed along the corridors. They rushed to the command center where General Rogers already stood reviewing incoming DataVex ships, she reported. They came from behind the sun, hiding in its radiation. How many? Kate asked, her face pale. 3, Rogers replied. Bigger than the ones we fought before. Lyra quickly accessed the tactical display. The Starfire isn't ready, she said. We need more time. Amy studied the approaching vessels. Their formation was different from the previous attack. Instead of the rigid pattern she had seen before, these ships moved erratically, unpredictably. Amy explained her plan to the gathered commanders, both human and Lyrian. The room fell silent as they processed her suggestion. You want us to broadcast our defensive plans openly. General Rogers finally said, her voice heavy with disbelief. You want to tell the Vex exactly what we're going to do? Yes, Amy confirmed, but not our actual plans. We create a false strategy, make sure they intercept it, then we do something completely different. Kate frowned. That could work once, but the Vex aren't stupid. They'd catch on quickly. Not if we layer the deception, Amy countered. We create multiple false plans, some obvious, some subtle. We make them think they've discovered our true strategy, when in fact it's just another layer of misdirection. Lyra studied Amy. With those large expressive eyes, the Lyrians seemed to be considering something. The Vex analyze patterns, she said. They seek logic, even in chaos. If we present them with multiple logical strategies, they will waste resources, trying to determine which is real. Exactly, Amy said. General Rogers still looked unconvinced. This is an awful lot of effort for one battle, she pointed out. It's not just for this battle, Amy explained. If we can make the Vex doubt their analytical abilities, if we can break their confidence in their predictions, they may hesitate in future encounters. That hesitation could be our greatest weapon. The general finally nodded approval. Begin preparations, she ordered. The next hours were a flurry of activity. Human and Lyrian communications. Experts worked to create layers of military plans, some obvious decoys, others subtle enough to appear genuine. The plans were then deliberately leaked through channels the Vex were known to monitor. Meanwhile, the real strategy was communicated through Lyrian memory spheres, which could not be intercepted or decoded. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. While the Vex were distracted by the network of false information, the Starfire, though not fully complete, would launch with a skeleton crew, their mission not to attack the Vex directly, but to plant a series of spatial distortion devices in the path of the enemy fleet. These devices, based on Lyrian technology, would create ripples in space-time, disrupting the Vex ship's navigation and weapon systems. As the Vex fleet approached, Lyra took Amy aside. I wish to show you something, she said, leading Amy to a private chamber within the lunar base. Inside was a single memory sphere larger than any Amy had seen before. It pulsed with an inner light that seemed to shift through colors humans had no names for. What is it? Amy asked. Our history. Lyra replied. Everything that remains of Lyrian civilization. Our art, our science, our mistakes, our triumphs. I entrust it to you. Amy stepped back, shocked by the responsibility. Why me? Why now? Lyra placed her slender hands on Amy's shoulders, a gesture she had adopted from humans. Because the coming battle is uncertain, she explained. If we fall, this must survive. You must ensure our people are. Remembered, Amy felt tears form in her eyes. It was the greatest trust anyone had ever placed in her. I promise, she whispered. Lyra nodded, then gestured to the sphere. It contains something else, she added. Knowledge of other civilizations, other allies, scattered across the galaxy. If the worst happens, seek them out. Earth need not stand alone. Before Amy could respond, an alert sounded. The Vex had crossed the lunar orbital path. The battle was about to begin. They returned to the command center where General Rogers was coordinating the defense. The first phase of their plan was already in motion. The Vex ships slowed their approach, clearly analyzing the contradictory information they were receiving. They took the bait, Kate said, watching the tactical display. They don't know which strategy to counter. The general nodded. Launch the Starfire, she ordered, on a secondary screen. Amy watched as the prototype vessel slipped from its dock. Moving silently through space, it circled behind the moon using the natural satellite as cover from Vex sensors. Meanwhile, Earth defenses activated in patterns that matched none of the leaked plans. The Vex ships hesitated, visibly confused by the humans' unpredictable movements. The first Vex vessel fired a testing shot. An energy beam lanced toward Earth, only to be absorbed by a shield grid that hadn't existed in any of the decoy plans. The other Vex ships spread out, attempting to find patterns in the defensive arrangement. Now Rogers commanded Earth defenses, fired not at the Vex ships directly, but at seemingly empty points in space. The energy beams vanished into nothing. The Vex showed no reaction, clearly dismissing the shots as a failed attack, but Amy knew better. The Starfire had successfully planted its distortion devices. Those empty points in space were about to become very dangerous. The effect when it came was spectacular. Space itself seemed to ripple around the Vex ships. Waves of distortion washed over their hulls. The lead vessel shuddered, its shields fluctuating wildly. The second ship spun out of formation, its navigation systems clearly compromised. The third and largest vessel attempted evasive maneuvers only to fly directly into a concentrated point of distortion. On the command screen, Amy watched as the Vex formation collapsed into this chaos. Earth launched its true attack. A swarm of small drones modified with Lyrian technology surrounded the disoriented Vex ships. Each drone carried a fraction of the firepower needed to damage the alien vessels, but together they created a deadly cloud. The Vex attempted to return fire, but their weapons could not lock onto the tiny, fast-moving targets. Their energy beams passed harmlessly through empty space, while the drones continued their relentless assault. The smallest Vex ship was the first to fall, its shields collapsing under the coordinated drone attack. The drones immediately swarmed inside the breach, targeting critical systems. The ship went dark, then began to drift. The command center erupted in cheers, but Amy kept her focus on the remaining vessels. The second ship was clearly damaged, but still fighting. The largest ship, however, seemed to be adapting its shields, pulsing in a new pattern that successfully repelled the drones they are learning. Amy warned. Lyra nodded. Make the call, she said to General Rogers. The general activated a secure channel Starfire Phase 2. She ordered. On the tactical display, Amy watched as the prototype ship finally revealed itself. It emerged from behind the moon, accelerating directly toward the largest Vex vessel. Its hull shimmering as it activated its main weapon, a beam of concentrated energy unlike anything Earth technology could produce, struck the Vex ship. The beam didn't explode on impact. Instead, it seemed to pass through the vessel, leaving no visible damage. For a moment, nothing happened. Then systems across the Vex ship began to shut down. Weapons, engines, shields all went dark. The massive vessel drifted, powerless. What was that? Kate asked in awe. Consciousness disruptor, Lyra explained. It doesn't damage physical systems. It attacks the ship's neural network. The Vex use semi-organic technology. Their ships are partly alive. This weapon essentially puts them into a coma. The remaining Vex vessel, seeing its companions defeated, turned and accelerated away from Earth, its engines pushing to maximum power. Let it go, General Rogers ordered. It will carry word of their defeat. Back to the Vex fleet. Amy understood the strategy. The surviving ship would report not just another loss, but a complete failure of Vex analytical methods. Their fundamental approach to warfare had been undermined. As the command center celebrated, Amy felt Lyra's hand on her shoulder. This is only the beginning, the Lyrian cautioned. The Vex will return with greater numbers. They will have new strategies. I know, Amy said, but so will we. In the days that followed, the disabled Vex ships were towed into orbit around Mars. Research teams, both human and Lyrian, began the delicate process of studying the alien technology. The smaller vessel was mostly intact, providing invaluable insights into Vex engineering. The larger ship, though undamaged, was more challenging. Its systems remained in a dormant state resistant to revival. Amy divided her time between the research teams and diplomatic meetings. Earth governments now fully invested in the alliance with the Lyrians were pushing for more technology transfers, more weapons, more ships. The military buildup accelerated with factories worldwide retooling for space warfare. A month after the battle, Amy sat with Kate in the lunar base cafeteria. The facility had expanded significantly, now housing over 300 humans and 50. Lyrians, I never thought I'd get used to this, Kate said, watching a group of Lyrians communicate through memory spheres, exchanging them like humans might share photos. Yet here we are eating lunch with aliens on the moon. Amy smiled. Everything has changed. So quickly, she agreed. Sometimes I still feel like that astronomer who spotted an anomalous signal. Kate took a sip of her coffee. When do you leave? She asked. Amy had been selected to command the first diplomatic mission to contact other potential allies. The information in Lyra's history sphere had identified several promising species. 3 days, she replied. The ship is almost ready. The horizon is smaller than the Starfire, but faster. It should reach the Centauri system in under a month. Kate looked concerned about her friend Will. Lyra, go with you. Amy nodded. She says she needs to make the introductions personally. These new aliens, the Solani, are cautious. They'll respond better to a face they recognize. The two women sat in companionable silence for a moment, both contemplating the strange turns their lives had taken. Do you ever regret it? Kate finally asked. Finding that signal. Amy considered the question. Life had been simpler before aliens, war, interstellar politics, but also smaller, more limited. No, she decided, I don't regret it. We were meant to look up, to reach out. The universe is dangerous, yes, but it's also wonderful. The things we've learned, the possibilities we've discovered. The decision to wake the Vex pilot was not taken lightly. Days of debate followed, with both human and Lyrian experts weighing the risks and benefits. In the end, the need for information prevailed. A special containment chamber was constructed, isolated, from all networks with multiple security measures. Amy stood with Kate, Lyra, and General Rogers as the procedure began. Lyrian scientists carefully extracted the crystalline structure from the ship's core and placed it in a specialized device designed to gradually reverse the effects of the consciousness disruptor. Are we sure about this? Amy asked one final time. No, General Rogers admitted, but we need to know what we're facing. The Vex fleet could arrive any day. Lyra placed a reassuring hand on Amy's shoulder. We have taken every precaution, she said. The chamber is completely isolated. The Vex cannot connect to any systems or communicate with its fleet. Amy nodded, though her unease remained. The Vex represented everything humanity feared in alien. Contact, hostile, technologically superior, and utterly alien in their thinking. The revival process took hours. The crystal slowly lost its opacity, revealing more clearly the figure within. As the final phase began, the chamber's monitors detected increased neural activity. The Vex was waking up. Everyone tensed as the alien eyes opened. 7 of them arrayed around its oversized head. Each was a different size and color. They moved independently, scanning the room and the observers for several minutes. The Vex made no other movement. Its eyes continued their unsettling examination. Then slowly it raised a limb. A spindly arm with 3 joints and 6 digits at the end. The movement was precise, mechanical. It knows where it is, Kate whispered. Of course, Lyra replied. The Vex consciousness remains connected to its body even when separated from its ship. The alien finally spoke. Its voice came not from its body but from the crystal itself. A resonant sound that seemed to bypass the ears and vibrate directly in the brain. The words were unclear, a series of clicking and humming sounds our translators can't process. This, Lyra said. We need more samples. Amy stepped closer to the containment field, ignoring General Rogers' warning gesture. I am Amy Wright, she said, speaking slowly and clearly. I represent Earth. We wish to communicate. The Vex turned all 7 eyes toward her. The effect was deeply unsettling as each eye seemed to focus on a different part of her. The crystal vibrated again, producing another series of sounds. The computers worked to analyze the patterns. Gradually, a translation appeared on the monitors, Purpose Query Entity Designation. Vex Pilot. 7-3 Incomprehension Location Query. It's asking where it is and why, Amy interpreted. She addressed the alien again. You are in a research facility. Your ship was disabled in battle. We revived you to communicate. The Vex processed this information. Its eyes rotated in their sockets in what might have been confusion or calculation battle. Confirmation Entity. Vex Pilot 7-3. Comprehension Defeat Acknowledgement. Purpose Query. Continuation. Amy looked to Lyra for guidance. It accepts. It was defeated, the Lyrian explained. This is unusual. Vex typically do not acknowledge failure. Amy turned back to the alien. Why do the Vex attack other species? She asked directly. The Vex seemed to consider this. Its crystal hummed existence. Purpose Query. Invalid Entity. Amy Wright. Incomprehension. Vex Purpose Continuation. Unworthy Species. Elimination. Evolution Directive. So they attack because they believe other species are unworthy, Amy said. Her disgust evident. Lyra stepped forward, addressing the Vex directly. The Lyrians you hunted to near extinction. Were they unworthy? She asked, her voice carrying an edge Amy had never heard before. The Vex turned its attention to Lyra, multiple eyes widening slightly. Entity, Lyrian recognition. Species designation, Lyrian categorization. Previous, worthy now, unworthy. Alliance contamination, human species. Kate frowned. At the translation, what does that mean? The Vex considers the Lyrians contaminated by associating with us. Amy realized. It's like they're tainted by contact with humans. General Rogers moved closer to the containment field. The Vex ship you piloted was part of an advance force, she said. When will the main fleet arrive? The alien shifted its posture, straightening as if proud. Main fleet approach calculation. 63 rotations planet Earth. Fleet size calculation. 10,000 vessels. Purpose elimination. Species human elimination. Species Lyrian. Amy felt her blood run cold. 63 days. 2 months before an armada arrived that would dwarf anything they've faced. But why? Kate asked, stepping forward. Why eliminate us? What threat do we pose? The Vex eyes rotated toward her. Threat calculation. Irrelevant species. Human unpredictability measurement exceeding acceptable parameters. Chaos introduction. Galaxy stability. Disruption. Predictability. Requirement. Evolution. True path. Now Amy understood. The Vex didn't fear human weapons or technology. They feared human unpredictability. Our chaos threatens their ordered view of evolution. Lyra confirmed her interpretation. The Vex believe the universe should develop along predictable lines, she explained. They see themselves as gardeners pruning species that might introduce too much chaos into the galaxy. Can we negotiate? Amy asked the alien. Is there any way to convince the Vex to leave Earth in peace? The crystal vibrated with what might have been amusement negotiation concept. Invalid species human permanent unpredictability. Nature elimination. Only solution. General Rogers had heard enough. She turned to her staff. We have what we need, she said. Begin fleet preparations. We have 2 months to prepare for war. As they left the containment facility, Amy felt a weight settling on her shoulders. 2 months to prepare for an invasion force of 10,000 ships. Even with Lyrian technology, the odds seemed impossible. Kate must have sensed her despair. We've beaten them before, she said. We can do it again. But not on this scale. Amy replied. Not against so many. Lyra joined them, her tall form moving with liquid grace despite the gravity. There is another option, she said, though. I hesitated to suggest it. The Solani. Amy looked up. The aliens she was supposed to visit on the diplomatic mission. Yes, Lyra confirmed. They possess technology, even the Vex respect. And they are not alone. Other species have suffered Vex aggression. They might join an alliance if properly approached. General Rogers considered this. How many potential allies are we talking about? Lyra blinked slowly. 7 known species with sufficient technology to challenge the Vex. Together, they could match even a fleet of 10,000. Hope sparked in Amy's chest. But would they help us? We've never met these aliens. They don't know us. They know of the Vex, Lyra said, and they know the Lyrians. Some will come for our sake, others to prevent the Vex from growing stronger by conquering. Earthamy made her decision. We need to send diplomatic missions immediately, she said. Not just to the Solani, but to all potential allies. The general nodded. The horizon is ready, she said to Amy. Your mission just became much more important. The preparations accelerated. The horizon, reconfigured for multiple diplomatic stops, was equipped with additional memory spheres containing cultural and historical information about Earth. Amy selected a small crew balanced between human scientists and military personnel, with Lyra serving as cultural advisor and translator. The night before launch, Amy stood in the observation dome looking out at Earth. The blue planet seemed so peaceful from this distance, so vulnerable. Kate found her there. The two women stood in silence for a moment. I never thought I'd be an ambassador to aliens, Kate finally said with a small smile. Amy smiled back. I never thought I'd be friends with one. Her gaze shifted to the stars visible beyond Earth's curve. Out there somewhere was the Vex Armada, coming to destroy everything she loved, but also potential allies waiting to be discovered. I should tell you something, Kate said, her voice serious. Before you go, there have been developments with the Vex prisoner. Amy turned to her friend. What kind of developments? It's been changing, Kate explained. The crystal. It's growing, extending through the containment field somehow. The scientists can't explain it. Amy felt a chill. What does Lyra say? She's concerned, Kate admitted. She says she's never seen this behavior in a captured Vex. They need to increase security, Amy said immediately. The mission to find allies was critical, but if the Vex escaped, Kate nodded. Security has been doubled, she assured Amy. But there's something else. The Vex has been asking for you specifically. Amy blinked in surprise. Me? Why? No one knows, Kate said. It keeps repeating your name, requesting communication. Amy hesitated. The launch was scheduled for early morning, only hours away. I should speak with it, she decided, if it knows something important. Kate looked worried but agreed to accompany her. The containment facility was quiet during the night shift. Only essential personnel remained monitoring the alien prisoner. As Amy approached, she saw what Kate had described. The crystal had indeed grown, extending tendrils through the containment field, though they stopped at the outer barrier. The Vex itself appeared unchanged, its multiple eyes immediately fixed on Amy. When she entered, entity Amy Wright. Arrival acknowledgement. Communication requirement. Amy stepped closer to the barrier. Why did you ask for me? The crystal vibrated. Entity Amy Wright. Unpredictability. Highest measurement. Interest calculation. Vex collective knowledge transfer opportunity. Kate leaned close to Amy, translating the alien concept. It finds you interesting, she whispered. More unpredictable than other humans. It wants to learn from you. Amy felt a mixture of revulsion and curiosity. The idea of sharing knowledge with the Vex seemed wrong. Yet understanding their thinking might provide an advantage. What knowledge do you seek? She asked carefully. The Vex shifted its position slightly. News of the Vex pilot's offer spread quickly through the command structure. General Rogers immediately called an emergency meeting. Opinions were sharply divided, some seeing opportunity, others a trap. It could be giving us access to critical information about Vex weaknesses, Kate argued. We can't ignore that possibility, or feeding us false information to sabotage our defenses. A military advisor countered. Lyra remained unusually silent during the debate. Her large eyes focused on the display showing the contained Vex. Amy noticed her reticence. What do you think? She asked quietly. Lyra turned to her. In all our centuries of conflict, we've never encountered a Vex that opposed its collective, she said. This is unprecedented. Either a deception of remarkable sophistication or a genuine evolutionary divergence, Amy finished. Precisely, Lyra nodded. The Vex believe in a predictable universe where species develop along predetermined paths. Our unpredictability threatens that belief. But what if this individual has evolved to see value in unpredictability? The debate continued for hours. Finally, General Rogers turned to Amy. The Horizon mission is still our priority. She said we need those allies. But this Vex opportunity requires investigation. You have the most rapport with the subject, such as it is. Amy understood what was being asked. She would stay behind to work with the Vex while someone else commanded the diplomatic mission. Who will lead the Horizon? She asked. Kate stepped forward. I've been working alongside you on the diplomatic preparations. I can do this. Amy felt conflicted. The mission was crucial, but so was the potential information from the Vex. She looked to Lyra. I should remain with you, the Lyrian said. The other Lyrians can provide necessary introductions to our allies. The decision made. Amy watched as Kate prepared to command humanity's most important diplomatic mission. The Horizon was scheduled to depart in 12 hours, with stops planned at 7 potential allied worlds. Meanwhile, Amy returned to the containment facility to begin work with the Vex. The alien seemed pleased in its inscrutable way when informed of her decision. Cooperation acknowledgement. Entity Amy Wright. Entity Vex. Pilot 7-3. Knowledge integration commencement. The work was unlike anything Amy had experienced. The Vex communicated through its crystal-creating vibrations that the translation computers interpreted. They established a system where Amy would pose questions, and the Vex would share information about fleet movements, Vex tactics, and weaknesses. 3 days into their collaboration, a breakthrough came. Vex fleet vulnerability, identification, Amy Wright, query response, defensive shield, frequency modulation, pattern predictability. Amy studied the translation. The Vex was explaining that their massive fleet, despite its size, relied on synchronized shield frequencies, a weakness that might be exploited if one could predict the modulation pattern. But you just said the pattern is predictable, Amy pointed out. Isn't that contrary to your belief in unpredictability? The crystal pulsed with what she had come to recognize as the Vex equivalent of amusement. Vex, collective predictability, reliance, weakness, human unpredictability, strength combination, optimal strategy. Amy smiled, beginning to understand the alien mind. This Vex had evolved to appreciate the strategic value of unpredictability, not as a philosophy, but as a tactical advantage. They continued their work. The Vex providing detailed information about the approaching fleet while Amy shared human tactical concepts. The exchange was cautious at first, but gradually developed into something almost like collaboration. A week passed. The Horizon had made contact with 3 potential allies. The HFY. Solani had agreed to send ships, as had the crystalline Rathi. The third species, the gaseous Vril, remained neutral, but offered medical and scientific support on Earth and Luna preparations. Continued military forces worldwide coordinated under a unified command. Space defense platforms multiplied their numbers, doubling, then tripling. Factories worked around the clock, producing drones and weapons based on Lyrian technology. Amy spent most of her time with the Vex developing strategies to counter the coming invasion. She was present when General Rogers received a disturbing report. The Vex fleet has changed course. Rogers informed her, they're accelerating. We're down to 40 days, not 60. The news sent a wave of urgency through the command structure. Amy immediately returned to the containment facility. The fleet is moving faster than you predicted. She told the Vex. Why? The alien's eyes rotated in their unsettling independent patterns. Fleet commander. Decision alteration, unpredictability, strategy implementation, human influence suspected. They think we've influenced you. Amy realized confirmation, fleet commander adaptation evidence, human chaos introduction, Vex collective. Amy felt a chill. What does this mean for our defense plans? Vex crystal pulsed softly. Strategy requirement modification. Original plan insufficient. New approach necessity. What's your recommendation? Amy asked. The crystal vibrated with unusual intensity. Vex collective communication method, Identification. Consciousness. Network utilization distance irrelevant entity Vex pilot. 7-3 network access capability. Amy frowned. I don't understand. Lyra, who had joined them, stepped closer. It is suggesting it can access the Vex communication network, she translated. It can. Send information directly to the fleet, Amy. Turn to the Lyrian. Isn't that dangerous? Could it alert them to our plans? The Vex responded before Lyra could network access. Bidirectional Vex fleet information retrieval possibility. Communication disguise. Capability entity. Vex pilot 7-3. It says it can disguise its communications, Kate translated. It could gather intelligence without revealing itself. Emmy considered the risks and possibilities. Such information would be invaluable. But trusting the Vex to this degree. Was it wise? Security containment current configuration insufficient. Network access safety compromise risk level unacceptable. Crystal removal requirement. The Vex wants us to remove the crystal, Amy said in disbelief. Lyra studied the alien. It's asking us to take it out of containment. That seems like a terrible idea, Kate said. But if it works, if we could access their battle plans in real time. General Rogers joined them, having observed the exchange. If we agree to this, what guarantees do we have? The Vex responded immediately. Guarantee concept mutual destruction. Entity. Vex pilot. 7-3 existence termination. If betrayal. Vex collective discovery consequence death. It's saying we could kill it if it betrays us. Amy translated, but also that discovery by the Vex collective would mean its death anyway. A standoff, Rogers noted. It has as much to lose as we do. After hours of debate, a compromise was reached. The crystal would be partially removed, allowing the Vex limited network access while remaining under observation. Special equipment was constructed to monitor the alien communications, ensuring it sent and received only what was agreed upon. The process began. 3 days later, Amy, Lyra, and General Rogers watched as technicians carefully extracted a portion of the crystal from the containment field. The Vex remained passive during the procedure, its multiple eyes tracking the movements around it. Connection preparation. Entity. Vex. Pilot. 7-3. Consciousness. Expansion. Commencement. The crystal fragment was placed in a specially designed interface. The moment contact was established, the crystal pulsed with new energy. Patterns of light flowed across its surface. Data began streaming into the monitoring computers. It's working, Kate said, studying the incoming information. These are fleet positions, tactical arrays, weapon configurations. The Vex remained connected for 20 minutes before the crystal dimmed. Slowly, its eyes refocused on the humans. Connection successful. Information acquisition complete. Vex fleet strategy identification. Primary target Earth, secondary target Luna Vex vessels. Designation calculation. Strategic distribution identification. Amy examined the data with growing concern. The Vex had divided their fleet into 3 attack groups. The first and largest would target Earth directly. The second would assault the lunar base. The third, smaller group would remain in reserve, adapting to whatever defenses were presented. More troubling was the time frame. They're only 28 days out, Rogers noted, studying the projections. Our allies won't all arrive by then. Amy turned to the Vex. Can we connect again? Learn more about their tactical systems. The crystal pulsed gently. Connection limitation. Necessary Vex collective detection. Risk calculation. Frequency. Restriction. Recommendation. It says we can't connect too often. Kate translated. There's a risk of detection. Amy nodded. How often is safe time measurement? Earth days 3. Frequency optimal. Safety parameters. Every 3 days, Rogers repeated. We can work with that. In the days that followed, a rhythm developed. Every 3 days, the Vex would connect briefly to the collective, gathering intelligence on fleet movements and strategy modifications. The information proved invaluable, allowing Earth defenses to adapt to Vex plans before they could be implemented. 2 weeks before the expected arrival of the Vex Armada, the horizon returned. Kate, looking tired but triumphant, disembarked with representatives From 5 alien species, the Solani tall crystalline beings that sparkled in the light, the Rothi insectoid creatures with complex exoskeletons, the vril contained in special atmosphere chambers, the metallic spherical Orendi, and most surprisingly, the plant-like Thelas whose species had been thought extinct. "We have commitments," Kate reported to General Rogers. "A combined fleet of 800 vessels. Will it be enough?"